Okay, in the first tutorial we looked at walls. We're just going to repeat a couple of quick things here just to remind you of what we did in the first one. So I've got the wall tool. I'm going to go and do the interior walls here. Again, I'm going to keep it at the generic 100. And what I'm going to do is just draw some internal corridors and rooms here. So I'm going to be pretty basic about this. When you want to be more productive, I can go and pick mirror axis and start to create these corridors around. I can right click and go create similar. I can start to use these temporary dimensions to give me an idea of how big that space might be. Okay, so here are some of my internal walls. Again, they're all being developed here in 3D. These are being aligned also to the ceiling height that I've got these set here. Now I can actually move this around. I can grab that particular level and change that. So maybe I wanted it to 7 meters. And because those walls are aligned with it, and I'll just do something a bit more dramatic, so 6 meters. Because those walls are aligned to that ceiling height, they'll move with it. So I'll just go back down to 2.7. I want that to be my stud height here. If I select those walls, you want to know more about this, you can see the top constraint is set to my ceiling level. If you want to understand what that is, it is here. So there's numerous things about that. I won't be able to go into a lot of a deep dive on every single feature. The goal of this tutorial is to try and get up and running in an hour on using Revit for a small house design. Okay, so just a quick refresher on the walls tool if you've done the first tutorial, and this is going to be roughly my floor plate. Now, out of the box, we're just going to go from left to right here and go through some of the tools. So the feature ribbon, door. Now these are just the default sizes we get out of the box. There's a whole lot of families out there on the web, which are basically the 3D components for things you load into your model. We'll do another tutorial later in the series, but for now we're just going to work with the basic stuff. So typical door sizes are highlighted here. We can manipulate these as needed, but I'll just go with some defaults. I want to put in some basic 813 by 2.1 doors. And we're going to place them in the interior space, so one going into this room, one going into this room, here to the hall, here, and again, just to remind you, you can grab all these and you can mirror them. Before I do the mirrors, whenever you go select these, you're going to use little arrows here. I'll just click on that, and that will flip it for me. You can also hit spacebar to do this, and this will just rotate and flip everything around for you. Now, I want these doors, if they've got handles, I want them to be maybe 100 mil off the wall. Temporary dimensions are available here, and that will move the door as needed. So again, all I'm doing is selecting these doors, hitting the space bar, or using these arrows to move them around, and you go in here and it's got the temporary dimensions to show how far it is. Here, again, we're just checking where our doors are. Now, for this one here, maybe I want it to be slightly a different sort of a size or a different type of door. We can go and grab that and maybe make it a bit bigger, and that will change it. So whenever you've got something selected, you can bring it up to be a lot bigger. So this one, because it's a hallway door, I'll make it 100 off there. I want to again reuse that door. So just like all features, you can use the create similar tool. I'm going to keep using the shortcut keys. Just go CS and do the same door down here. And again, this one, I want that dimension to be 100. And here we have our doors. So now that we've got these doors in place, again, productivity tools, we can use the line here, the reference line, to mirror it, and they'll host within the opposite walls on that space. Again, maybe I might need to make some adjustments. I can see maybe this room might become a room like that. Again, right click or type CS, create similar, and I'll just host those doors. So really easy to get up and running here to place your doors in the design. Now, if you want to see it in 3D, of course, here it is in 3D, and those doors have all been placed. They've got some architraves around them. At the moment, they're of a certain width, certain height. We'll get into families later, but yeah, really easy and simple to create doors. Now, the next thing to push on with is windows. Now you can see, oh, here there's, I want this to be an open space now. I've changed my mind on what I want it to be. Now I want to break up this wall. There's a couple ways you can do it. The simplest way is to start to use the modify tools. You'll see these two little features here, split element or split with gap. So I'll just do split with element, just do that, and I'll just add a split here. That's now broken that wall up, and all I'm going to do is use the trim command to grab this part of the wall inside of that little lobby space and trim it here, and this one, and trim it here. So that's a nice little tool just to help clean things up as you go. So this is my open plan space in here. Now, going back to our ribbon tab, so we've done walls, doors, and now windows. By default, there are some windows in here. Now, I want these windows to be quite large. I want them to actually be floor to ceiling large, so it's with the dimension. So I've got this one here by default, which is 915 by 1830. I want this one to work with my grid for this particular design. So I'm going to make it pretty big. So I'm just going to go here and hit edit type. And it's going to give you all these different type properties. We're just going to look at a couple here in the dimensions. This is all we want to flex right now. I want my height to be the same height as the ceiling height. So I'm going to make it 27 for the height. The default sill height, I want it to go to the floor, so I'm going to make it 0. And then the width, because I'm working to, I like to work to a 1.5 meter grid, I can either make it 750 or 1500. So I'm going to make it a pretty large window, and I'm just making these adjustments. Now, at the moment, these are being adjusted and added to this particular type. I can actually duplicate it, and by duplicating it, I can give it the correct dimension name here. So 1500 by 2700, and I'll just remove the suffix at the end here. It just defaults to 2. Okay, so this is my new type. It's just a fixed window, 1500 by 2700, and I'm just going to go OK. And now this is ready to place in my model. So I want this one to actually go here, and again you can flip it as well, depending on how you want the sills to be. I'll just leave it as basics, and I'll put this one at 1400. Just make it to here. Now I want these windows to go all the way down, so this hallway is looking into a courtyard. I can use the array tool. So here we have the array tool. There are numerous things that it will do here. It can group and associate. You can do radial arrays. I'm just going to use the basic tools here. Leave it on the defaults. We're going to array this, and we're going to take it down the page. So I'm going to go from this point here. That could be from the window down to the actual other endpoint of the window, where I can type in the number, and I'll go like that. Now it's asking me, do I want 2? Now I don't know the exact number, so I'm just going to add maybe 6 for now and hit return. It's done 6 windows. The command is still active, so I can see I can probably get 2 more in here. I will add 8, and now we have 8 windows. I'll tidy up this wall junction in 1 second. So I'm just going to go and click out of that. That's now finished. These are all grouped and associative. What I want to do is just get this wall correct. So I'm going to just move it down so there's a nicer cleanup, and I'm just going to take it down to snap at the end point, and that just cleans it up a little bit. We could just grab that entire wall and delete it, and then grab that to include the wall. So you can see it's got that little bit of wall here, that mm, and that will now bring it across cleanly. So we have now our doors and windows in the right space, looking into the courtyard. And if I want to maybe create some extra windows, so I'm going to do this one in 3D. Just to finish up, I want to do some high-level windows to this space. So I've got my window command available here. I'm going to use, not this one, I'm going to edit it. Now I'm just going to do this again. I want to duplicate this window type. I'm going to keep the 1500 mil width but I want to maybe make them 700 in height. Get rid of the default suffix at the end, and all I'm going to do here is keep the width but go and change the height to 700. And now for the default sill height, I want these to be at high level, so I'm going to make them at 2 meters and go OK, and start now placing them in my model. So you can start to see here. Now don't worry about whether it's going to be sitting exactly in the right location. We'll tidy this up in a second, and we're just hosting some windows in here. So here's the windows in our 3D view. We can go and manipulate these as needed. So if I want that to be at 2 meters, I can do it here. This one, again, you can do the same thing. I'm just grabbing this all in 3D. I could also, adjust it here. But if you like to work in 2D, again, we can flip into our ground floor 2D view. Now, what you'll notice is the windows aren't showing because these ones are quite high. If I just bring this up and grab those windows and just drop them down to, say, a cut plane, I think by default it's 1300. You'll start to see these show. If they aren't showing, you need to adjust the cut plane. So I'll just go undo, keep these back up at the right height. Here we have in your properties, your ground floor plan, there is the view range. And if you want to know more about view range, there's a little indicator here to explain how it all goes together. At the moment, that was at 1200, not 1300. I'm going to move my cut plane up to 2.2, for example, and go apply. And now those windows start to show. Now, this is kind of a tricky one. You can see as I've made adjustments here, the doors aren't showing. So there's a kind of a gray area where you'll find like the magic number. There may be more advanced stuff you can do in this space to get this all displaying. Looks like my magic number here, my cut plane between my doors and my windows is 2050. There are other workarounds for this, but I just want to keep this simple. Okay, so just to finish up, here are my windows that are placed at the high level. My doors are displaying. I'm going to put that at 0. Now these ones again, I'm going to use the copy tool just to copy them across as opposed to array, and they're not going to be quite symmetrical, so I'm going to delete that one, move this one and this one. I'm just hitting the move tool now, so I just typed MV for move to here and here, and mirror again, and here they are in place, and here they are in 3D. So here we have adding doors, large windows and high-level windows with the view range showing here, heading into our 3D model.